Well, I guess we're live. What's up, everybody? I'm on with PJ Jacobsen tonight. He is one of those rare individuals who has actually been able to beat Jake Gagne head up in the half dozen people have been able to do that the last 3 years, and you're on that short list of lunatics. So, what's up, PJ?
What's going on? Thank you for having me on the podcast here. It's been trying to get me on for a while. I know you've been super busy and stuff, but it's good to come on your podcast thing.
Right on, man. So, I was just talking to you a little bit, and I will tell you this. I did some pregame with Richard earlier about our show tomorrow night, and he said that he wanted to tell you that he was bummed for you at Jersey with the penalties and crap, and how it's super hard to see that flag and stuff. So
yeah,
you got support from the skipper.
Yeah, that's good. That was
I mean, it
that
doesn't
was a
give
hard
you your
one to
money
swallow.
back.
No,
It doesn't
exactly.
give you your money back.
That does not give me a lot of my money back. That was a pretty big portion of money that caused with a yellow flag. Yeah, I'm pretty pissed.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, were you as pissed as Jake was for touching the green paint by a couple millimeters?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. The same as the Laguna thing. Like, I don't know. Some of the calls are just a bit ridiculous sometimes. And it's just like, especially when you've worked so hard as a rider.
Yeah.
And stuff like in the race, it's like that didn't do anything.
Right. Well, I could only imagine. I mean, we're just getting started or whatever. But let's go there, dude. What does it look like when your crew is trying to write you notes, and you're going by in the rain at like 150 miles an hour or whatever?
Yeah, that was a difficult one. I'll tell you that because I couldn't see anything.
Like, what the fuck are you guys saying?
Yeah, I just it was. Yeah, that was a hard one, because I even was standing up, like, on the bike, kind of, because I didn't understand what they were doing with the pit board, and I was like, this is weird. Like, maybe I have such a strong gap behind me. They're just like, oh, yeah, he's in second. He's not going to catch Jake, and he's got a huge gap behind him. So let's not give him a pit board. So I couldn't see anything on the pit board, and then we kept missing it, like, 3 laps in a row. And then I didn't see it. It was a really hard one. It was a hard one for my team, too. I felt bad for the whole situation. But, when you come in to, like, the Parc Fermé and you think you got second in the race, and then you end up going to the weigh-in station, where everyone else parks, it's not a good feeling.
Right. So let me ask you this, man. Like, you're what, 30?
I am 30, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so when did you start racing? Because I read some shit, and I was like, are you serious? Like, you were racing at, like, 12 or something? Like, 13?
I started riding a motorcycle at 3 on training wheels, like on a PW50,
Okay.
Yeah, so I started doing that. I got into, like, flat track. And then from that point, when I was 11 years old, I went road racing.
You're at 11 racing. And what were you racing?
I was racing an RS 125 at that time.
You're 11 years old racing an RS 125.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like proper bike. So, what were you, like, was it Wira or USG PRU? I remember, like, what was that, 05, 06?
It was 2005.
Okay.
And I started racing. My first race was at Miami Homestead.
Okay.
I went there with one of my mechanics. I was like one of my flat track mechanics for the longest time, and we went there together. And it was just me, him, and his girlfriend, and we did this race. And I ended up winning everything. And then one of the Barry Gilson from Celtic Racing was like heard about the race and stuff, and he had his own little team that he was forming. So I got like a phone call from him and had the opportunity to go test at like Jennings GP on his Irish team,
Right.
And then that's how I got like more into road racing at 11.
So you were racing dirt track. Did you think to yourself when you like did your first road racing, won everything, you're like, shit, this is way easier, or like, or were you just legitimately having more fun doing it? Like, I'm curious what drove you to continue doing the road race thing.
Yeah, so like my dad was a big push of it. He's the one
Okay.
that obviously got me into road racing because everybody looked up to Nicky Hayden, when they were a kid and stuff. So
Yeah.
they seen him go from the flat track stuff to the road race, and at the time, road race was huge. With
Yeah.
Honda, all the manufacturers and stuff like that. So and there was a lot of money in the sport, and a lot of those riders made out very
Man.
well at the time back then. Like
Yeah.
Zemke, Duhamel.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good,
The
So I
Mladen
think,
era was still going strong, right?
yeah, exactly. So I think my dad just thought it was a really good opportunity for me instead of what he did his whole life, which was flat track racing, and he thought that road race was a better option, as a career.
Isn't it kind of interesting now that kind of somewhat the roles have kind of reversed a bit in that world, or am I crazy to think that?
Yeah, I mean, I think flat track was pretty strong maybe a couple of years ago. I think their stuff is reversing now again, and I think
Oh, okay.
MotoAmerica is kind of coming stronger.
Right.
Um, well, I don't know about stronger, but it seems like it's getting a decent following and stuff on social media with the bagger
Right.
class and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed the bagger class definitely is bringing a lot more eyes into Moto America. And,
yeah,
Moto America has had their issues, especially this year. And I think every group is going to have experience growing pains, if you will.
yep,
And it seems like they're doing a good job to address some of the communication stuff. And, while somebody ends up leaving butthurt after, the fact is that they are trying to make changes. Like, I don't, I've been pretty vocal on this show, and, some of my guests, Stamboli, regular guest, has been
oh
pretty
yeah, for
vocal
sure.
about Moto America. But I don't want my show to be like a shit on Moto America thing, because I'm actually a huge fan of Moto America, and I think it's pretty cool to see and hear that people from all over people in Europe and stuff are like super into it, right? Like the analytics in Moto America is pretty strong, the strongest they've been, like you said. So, hopefully that translates into writer salary for lunatics like yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, I think it's yeah, a lot of people follow Moto America and stuff. They have a very strong social media following. I mean,
Yeah,
they'll probably be over 1 million followers, I guess, soon on their Instagram and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
yeah, it's a good following, but I think especially this year and stuff, because there were so many teams in the series and Superbike, so it was a
yeah,
pretty good show, and like even like Richard, he wants to battle all the time
yeah,
other manufacturers. You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah.
it's great to win every single race and stuff like that, but
Right,
it's good to have all the other manufacturers there fighting for a chance at the top spot on each weekend. That's what
right.
makes the racing good and what makes the series keep going.
Yeah, I mean, like this season, it was Yamaha. Cameron won, you won, Heron won. I mean, it's pretty cool to see three different manufacturers at least going at it. I mean, one like I'm part of I'm a supporter of the attack program, and I don't hide the fact that we're on the winning team, right? And I want to see them win, and I think it's awesome. I'm supported by Yamaha as well, and I want to see us finish 1, 2, 3 every time. But it sure, as a fan, it's like not knowing who's going to be the winner is super key, right? Like this year, it was hard to say. I mean, it was hard to say who was going to be the winner each weekend this year, and it's been the first time it's been that way, and as far as I can remember. Yeah, right? I mean, because there was the Matt Mladen era that you were talking about, where literally, like, you knew every weekend, except for maybe, I don't know, where were the Eric Bostrom weekends? Pikes Peak, right? Pikes
Yeah.
Peak pretty much was not going to be Mladen, right? And I don't know, just pick a Willow, right? But then pretty much every other weekend was Matt Mladen, and then it was Ben Spies, and it was Josh Hayes, and now but then it was Bobier again, and then it was Jake, right? So, a couple years ago, you knew, like, going in, I mean, Jake had everybody beat before they even put their leathers on, right? So the fact is, you guys are strapping the boots on and putting the screws to everybody. It's certainly fun to watch.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think for sure. Suzuki had their error. Yamaha had their error. Still has it, but yeah, I feel like that there's manufacturers and some riders have just dominated the series in the past. So yeah, I think this year was pretty good with different people dominating, or not dominating, but like being at the front, running at the front, and challenging for wins and stuff like that, where there wasn't just one dominant rider that you knew was going to win every single weekend. So I think it changed a little bit this year.
So you started out on the 125, and then I'm looking at my notes, and I'm like, bro, you did USGPRU, and then a couple years later, you're in the World Championship. How did that go down, and what was that like?
Yeah, so like when I was 12 years old, I got a call to go over and do the Red Bull MotoGP Academy. It was before the start of the Rookies Cup. And they selected it was 5 or 6 riders from different countries, and then they put them together, and they live in Spain, and they run in the Spanish Championship. So I did that, and then I came back to the States, and then I went over there and ran the Spanish Championship again. But I never really had the opportunity to go to the World Championship of 125 MotoGP. I only did one race, which was a wild card at Indy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was that the weekend that what the hell is number 45 Lintz? Is that the weekend that Lintz kid passed?
Yeah, I think it was. Yes.
Yeah.
It was that.
Dude,
same year.
You're in that same class, huh? Like Joe Roberts was in there, right? Like back then.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, that was the Rookies Cup. I was actually in the 125 GP class.
Oh, you know what? That was at Indy. Was it wasn't Rookies Cup, it was Milwaukee Cup or something.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, Milwaukee.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, man, that's that's a hell of an opportunity. So what did you do after that? Because I was kind of looking up some of your history stuff, and I saw a gap between 2008 and 12. So what did you do after that opportunity? Did you go back to doing the USGPRU stuff, or how did you end up in World Supersport or whatever?
Yeah, so after that opportunity, I went back to USGPRU. And I got some phone calls actually, because I was thinking about running I think it was Wira. It was Wira, and I was gonna get supplied bikes from Chuck Graves or Honda. Were gonna give me bikes, and I was gonna pick one of those, but I didn't end up doing that. And I went to AMA Supersport the following year, and I rode my first year with Celtic Racing under a Suzuki, privateer Suzuki.
Okay.
Yeah, so I ended up doing that for the full year. But prior to that, of the Indy race, I did a wild card at the New Jersey, the last race of the kids class, I think it was called at the time. This whatever that 600 class was below the proper 600 class.
Yeah, like the East and West Supersport thing.
Yeah, that thing. I did one of those races at New Jersey. I was on pole position and everything, but then after that, it didn't go well because I jumped a start. There was a lot of drama, but the following year after that, I did privateer Suzuki with Celtic, and then from that point, that's where my professional career, I guess, started kicking off from that point.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing that you did a stock 1000 in British Super Stock Superbike or what? British Superbike Stock 1000 or whatever.
British
Kinda,
Superstock. Yeah,
yeah.
I went to
You were like
British.
20.
Yeah, no, so
Like,
I
how do
did
you? Like,
this.
it's like 20 years old. You go and race in the UK, and you like win at 20
Yeah,
or
exactly. No,
19.
I was 18.
You were 18. No
Yeah, I
shit.
was 18. Yeah, because I had no ride that year, so
Okay.
I text one of my mechanics that was Irish that helped me forever, and he's like, hey, come over and maybe you could ride, have a testing opportunity with Philip Neal at Tyco Suzuki. So we
Okay.
went to this like little shithole place in Ireland, this track, Kirkestown, and I tested there, and I did pretty good. So they were like, "Oh, hey, why don't you come do the next Superstock race? It's next weekend." And I was like, "Okay, I could do that." And that's how my BSB career like got taken off.
Like, yeah, you're just fast. You take out what was the weekend that what was the race weekend that you won? Is it Brands Hatch
Oh,
or something?
Donington.
Donington. Okay.
Yeah, that was my first win on the Superstock bike in BSB.
And
I
how many
passed.
times had you been to Donington before that?
Never. Never. Yeah. And I passed Lee Johnson in the grass for the win. It was amazing.
So I would assume it's dry then, right? Or
Yeah,
no?
the grass. Yeah, it was dry. Yeah, for
I
once.
mean, it's the UK,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, the UK is never. It's always raining.
So track you've never been to, a bike you tested once, series you're not in, you go grid up and win.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a way to.
Could you try again?
That's a hell of a way to start your career, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good. That's how I ended up getting noticed, I guess, in the British Championship. Because from that point on, I was on the podium or winning each race. After that, I was battling with that kid Keith Farmer, who unfortunately he passed away this year. But I was battling with him the whole time, and it was really good.
Wow. Okay. So I'm getting some comments. So funny. Okay. I'll get to the comments a little bit, guys. Like, I want to let PJ kind of open up a little bit. Everybody wants to know what he's doing next year. We'll wait. Come on, man. Even if he may not even know. So like, chill. Let's get through this. Let him tell the story, assholes. Like, talking to the 7 fans, right? So, okay. So how long did you do the British thing? Like, how did the British Stock 1000 or whatever?
Yeah, so I did that from 2000, the end of 2018 till 20. No, not sorry. I did the British Championship for 2 years. So that was in 2012 until or 2000. Yeah, the end of 2011 to 2013. So I
Okay.
rode British Superstock and I rode British Superbike. So I did so well in British Superstock that it got me a ride in British Superbike.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you did get to ride British Superbike.
Yeah, I rode
Okay.
for Tyco Suzuki in British Superbike with Josh Brooks. He was my teammate.
Okay.
And yeah, I feel like I ended up doing pretty good towards the end of the year once I got to know the tracks and stuff like that.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. So you did that, and then I'm seeing like World Supersport. You did some
Yeah.
World Supersport.
So after that year, I did.
You had
I
a MV Augusta or something, right? Or was that? Am I crazy to think that?
MV Augusta I had a couple of years after being in World Supersport. So
Oh, okay.
when I went from British Superbike, I got a opportunity from Andrew Pitt, who was my crew chief, to go ride for a Kawasaki team in World Supersport.
Okay.
So I did 2014 to 2017 in World Supersport.
Okay.
And I rode for a bunch of different manufacturers in the class.
Yes. Like, yeah. You did a Cowie, Honda. Did you do a Yamaha too, or Suzuki?
No, MV.
Oh, he's the MV. Okay.
Yeah.
I only really remember the MV. That's when it's like, shit, man, this American kid's like going at it. So like, you won races, right?
Yeah, I won a bunch of races. I had a really good season that I almost won the world championship.
Yeah.
if that season was a little bit different, I think I could have beat Keenan in the championship, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out in my favor that year.
Yeah, I mean, that I guess happens, right? So I guess you did World Superbike one more time in 18 before coming back to the States, right?
Yeah, I feel like I'm on Wikipedia right now.
Hey man, I'm digging the shit up. I'm not Greg.
Just kidding.
I'm not Greg White, bro. Greg knows all this shit by heart, right? I got to do research on your ass. Like, I'm not Gregopedia, dude. Like, yeah, I'm just like looking you up, and I do remember the MV Augusta thing, and I don't really remember the World Superbike thing. I mean, it's 2018, like whatever. But when you came back to the States in 19. You were part of what I consider the last, like, most competitive super sport had ever been.
Oh,
You were part of that last time, because that year you never knew. It could have been you on the Celtic bike. It could have been Fonger. It could have been Richie. It could have been SDK, right? Like, there was like 4 of you guys stabbing each other in the neck every weekend. And it was some of the most exciting racing that class has ever seen and hasn't seen since then. So walk me through that, dude. Like, tell me about your battles that year. Because that's what probably most people remember about you when you came back anyway.
So coming back, like, I came off a really bad year in World Superbike, and I was just like mentally just done from it, and it was really rough. So I got the call from Bobby, HSBK, and Barry, and they wanted to put a team together on the R6.
Yeah.
So they did that, and we had a team for the year, and yeah, it was a lot of battles. I mean, I didn't really remember a lot of the tracks because it was so long since I like rode them, and a lot of them were new to me, So
yeah.
it's like I haven't been riding around in AMA and stuff like that with like most of the guys for years. So yeah, some of the new tracks were a little bit of a struggle for me, but yeah, that was a really crazy year. It's just funny too because I feel like every time I go into a class each year, like, it's not easy. Every time that I'm involved in a class, it's stacked. It's like it has all the most guys that that you're always battling against in that class. It's never like, oh, there's one guy that I have to worry about this year, No,
Right.
there's like 7 or 8 guys, It's like Superbike this past year, Every time I'm in the class, it's packed.
I mean, would you have it any other way?
No, I mean, I think it's great, and it's great for the racing and stuff like that, But it's just funny, like, because when I do leave the class, it ends up being like the next year there's nobody in the class, and everybody's moved to Superbike.
Right. Well, you kind of moved to Superbike too, so
yeah.
I mean, like I said, man, that class. I mean, some of those, dude. Like at the last race of the year was Jersey that year, right? And dude, all year long, every weekend, it was a full contact sport, right? You guys were smashing each other. Tell me about that. Like, what's it like making contact with a big corn-fed dude like Hayden Gillum?
Yeah, it got pretty intense, and then I think like just me, Hayden, and Bobby maybe like lost respect for each other towards the end of the year. Everyone's like happy, like.
Uh oh.
And yeah, it just kind of went downhill, I guess, at the end of the year.
I lost you for just a second. Can you repeat what you just said? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, I just mean, like, Road Atlanta and stuff like that. You're all like, hey, bud, what's up, man? How you doing? Da, da, da. And then by the end of the year, it's like you want nothing to do with anybody. And everyone hates each other.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's the year that, what was it, SDK's dad, like, throwing water bottles right? Like, I mean, that kind of shit, it's like the level of intensity on track totally translated into the way the fans were reacting, teams were reacting. I mean, there's a couple of comments I could get to if you want, but like, people talking about how it's like not the way it's supposed to. Racing's not supposed to be a full contact sport, right? Like, so And sometimes, I mean, you got punted a couple of times that season, right? And I don't remember if you were doing any of the punting, but you were right in the shit.
It was just. I think it was more. It was more like Hayden and Bobby getting into some stuff, and then
Yeah.
SDK, Jersey, and a couple other maybe incidents with Hayden or something. Like I feel like I didn't really get involved with that or had too much like contact. The only problem I had was that like pit race or something when me and Hayden
Okay.
touched or whatever. But I kind of was a little vocal at pit race, But yeah, I don't know. It just I try to stay away from that stuff. But I mean,
Yeah.
if you're gonna like punt me on the racetrack, like honestly, you're gonna get it back, So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looked like it was a tit for tat kind of thing as far as I could tell. But man, it sure made the racing exciting. And then, the following year, it was 2020, and the Attack Yamaha team had just kind of taken off with factory level support kind of thing. Like instead of being a private team, 100% on Richard's dime, like he became the factory representation for Yamaha.
yeah,
And, that year we had Bobier and we had Gagne, I think, right?
yep,
Yeah. So, that year you had moved up. The Celtic guys were doing the Ducati thing, right? And
yeah.
I remember, like stock 1000, you were racing the V4R in stock 1000 and just smashed everybody. Like, just absolutely just made everybody look like they were in B group, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they tack a bunch of weight to your bike. Like, walk me through that season, because that's kind of when you kind of had to put your whole shit on pause, right? So what happened there?
I mean, it was all going good and stuff, and then, hey, MotoAmerica, they're the ones, whatever, that allowed me into the class, so they made the decision, and whatever. It was just, it was a bad outcome after, like, I guess I started to win the first 3 races in the Superstock
Right.
class.
Right.
And then everybody started complaining or whatever like that, because it's always the bike, So they started complaining, and it kind of got Then they started adding 25 pounds of weight they put on the bike, and I like started noticing that at Road America. But then when the bike caught fire and stuff, like that's what ended my whole season, because I had burned so bad that I just couldn't race.
Yeah, I was worried about I reached out to you, I think, at one point. You're like, yeah, I'm actually good, looking for a ride, but I'm coaching kids now. I'm like, oh, okay. So you took, how long did it take you to heal from all the burns? Because you were pretty severely smoked, right? Like,
It took me a pretty long time, just because it kept healing and stuff, and the burns just, like when it was healing, it just keeps bleeding, and then it's bleeding and bleeding and bleeding, and I kept putting the cream on and all the stuff that they kept telling me to, and it just was not healing. Like it took forever, because it was just layers and layers of skin that was just burned off.
oh,
So and I
rough,
didn't want to get
dude.
it infected and stuff, so it just it was pretty rough. And then also too, it took me a little while to get like mentally back into it as well, because like I had some really bad memories at Road America, like on the back straightaway with the bike on fire. I just had a really hard time of like being tucked in and like looking at a proper dash without it being like a pizza oven. So it
Oh,
was kind
shit.
of like freaking me out
So you had like
for a little bit.
flashback kind of thing? Like
Yeah, I had
like PTSD kind of?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like almost like a guy that's in a severe fire, like a fireman or something, and
Yeah.
he's just like waking up in the middle of the night, freaking out. He thinks he's still burning or something. And I ended up actually having that a little bit, but I
Wow,
was
dude.
trying
That's,
to hide that. But yeah, it was a little not good, not good.
that's hardcore, man.
Yeah.
So you heal up, and obviously you don't have a ride or anything. So were you mentoring? You were mentoring younger riders. Somebody in the comments mentioned that they saw you working with Sam Lockoff.
So when I got all like healed up and stuff like that, I still didn't really like have a ride for that next season because I guess I didn't prove or anything, and people didn't know how it was going to be after the burns and all that situation. So Sam's dad called me and Barry, who like helps me with everything from Celtic Racing, and was like, "Hey, can PJ help Sam next year?" So he put me on this program to train his kid, and Sam was moving up to the 600 class with the M4. And I went to Florida to go live with Sam for like 3 months, and then I took him back to my house to train the rest of the season throughout my place because there was a supermoto track and all stuff like that. So I feel like I put a lot of effort into Sam because like I was hungry as well to just get back out there on the grid, and it was like I was like living through Sam. So I every time I like was training him and like pushing him hard to work out and riding every single day and just like eating and just everything that we like did together, I felt like I was kind of living through him. And yeah, he did really, really, really well that season, and he ended up getting third in the championship. He won a race. So yeah, I was like super proud of the kid, and he came a really long way from a start at like Jennings in January, where I was scared to even put him on the grid to think it was safe enough, and the kid ended up winning a race at the end of the season. So it just showed that like I was really proud of myself for doing the hard work, and he fought through it the whole season as well. So it was a really good program, and I was happy to do that for a kid like that.
And I thought you were saying that you worked with younger kids too, right? Or no?
Yeah, so like I have this thing called Jacobsen motorcycle training.
Okay.
I've worked with like the lowest age I've worked with is a 5-year-old.
Okay.
So
That's
yeah,
cool.
I work with all kids like that. I know basically like all the kids in the Ovale class. They all see me at the races, and I always give them hugs and just love those kids. They're super fast, and the thing is like that nobody realizes is like all those kids will be racing me one day. Hopefully I'm not like 40 by then, but I probably will be. But they're going to be racing me, and they're going to be beating me. And I can see like a lot of the kids that have talent in the Ovale class that are coming up, and I've been in the same position as them and their parents is where my dad's been at, and yeah. I know the struggles and stuff that parents and kids go through to get to where they are, but the main thing is too to be like a professional athlete in the Superbike class, which is the top class, is all those kids want to do is just you to hang out with them, because it's cool for them. You're in the Superbike class and they're racing Ovales, and they just want to get there one day. So it's like it means the world to them to just go and hang out with them and be able to ride with them.
Yeah, it's like I guess you could say Rocco Landers racing against Josh Hayes.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, makes sense, right? Shit, you racing against Josh Hayes, really, right?
Yeah. Josh Hayes, I feel like he'll be racing forever.
Dude, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm an old guy, and he's like a year older than me, man. Yeah. I was like, shit.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when he did it like Brainerd. I was like, dude, how are you not dying? He's running Superbike and Supersport the whole weekend. It's like, all right, you're my new hero, Josh.
Yeah. All right, so before I move over to the BMW thing, let me go to some of the comments because people are chiming in and stuff.
Yeah.
So let's go here. I got some comments from Davey Stone. I don't know if you know him.
No.
Okay, so there's one guy
nice
named...
to meet you, Davey.
Yeah, Hyperdyne 15 asks you to discuss your transition from the off-season from a training and nutrition perspective. So transition to the off-season from the training and nutrition perspective. So are you going to... Season's over, it's time to eat Cheetos and Twinkies.
I mean, like when the season ends, yeah, for sure. Like I feel like you deserve a huge break and stuff of doing everything and just kind of eating whatever you want and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like it's a little hard for me to do those things though because like I like to to keep myself in shape, so I'm not gonna just let myself go or anything. But
Okay.
yeah, I definitely feel like I eat a lot like more or maybe more junk food or something like that when the season ends, and because like when the season's there and stuff, maybe you watch a little more careful of your nutrition and what you're eating and stuff throughout the season instead of eating the fatty foods and stuff like that when the season ends. But
But
we have
cookies are
we have
so good.
yeah, exactly. Everything, ice cream, cheesecake. But yeah,
Okay.
I feel like we have a long break off until like March of like Daytona, so it's kind of
Yeah.
like a bunch of months off to like relax a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what kind of things? What's your go-to training thing? I talk to a lot of guys, right? So, it seems like most people have some kind of bicycle that they're doing. Swimming. Hayes, the tennis thing. Like, what's your? And or there's JD who just rides something every day. He's outside. He's like that guy. So, like,
Yeah.
what's your go-to thing? What are you doing to train?
So yeah, I feel like I like just do pretty much easy stuff. Like I run all the time.
You're a runner. Okay.
Yeah, I like running. Yeah, I'm not really like I was into cycling for a while. I'm kind of a person that gets over stuff quick.
Okay.
So I was in a cycling stage for a little while, like 3 years or something, and then I kind of got out of it and got bored with it. And then I started getting into running big, and then I got into rowing big, indoor cycling. Like I feel like I get bored with things a lot, but the main thing for me is like just to keep my cardio at a certain level, and I enjoy running, so that's an easy cardio thing for me to go out on a 5 mile run or something like that every other day. The rowing machine, I have that at my house, or indoor cycling like the Concept 2, which is the same as the rowing machine. I have all that stuff in my house, and I just do like light weights as well. But for me, like the biggest thing for training that you should do, like that helps me all the time, is riding my supermoto bike or my Ovale or motocross. So just basically being bike fit is a
Okay.
huge plus for me more than any other thing, to be honest.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, like I said, JD says he's riding something basically all the time. Like
Yeah, yeah,
bicycle, supermoto, dirt track, turn track, whatever.
yeah.
I see a lot of your social media. You're really active in the supermoto thing. Like
Yeah.
that's a good time. Do you have like just one regular track that you ride both directions, or do you ride multiple supermoto tracks or local to you? What's your go-to there?
Yeah, so I have a track in New York that I ride. There's a New Jersey Motorsports Park. I ride in Bushnell in Florida or Anderson in Florida. So I go to a whole bunch of different tracks all the time. I was trying to talk to like a bunch of other guys that I hang out with, like Ashton Yates and Brandon Posh and stuff like that, because we were trying to organize something to go out and do like a Texas trip or something,
Oh, that'd be
something
cool.
cool because we wanted to ride supermoto for like a week or something like that. It would be pretty cool for all of us. But yeah, it's good to mix up all the tracks in the supermoto because one track gets pretty boring and stuff. But that's a huge thing for me is the supermoto stuff. I really feel like I feel bike fit with that, and it's a lot of fun.
Right on. Right on. Okay, so Davey Sohn says Davy Jesus in the house. He calls himself. Well, he used to call his bike Baby Jesus. So whatever. But
Jesus.
he's asking like what your thoughts are on the BMW, and then he also said he says that Aussie Dave said those English guys play rough on the track. So you want to talk? You want to take one of those or both of those?
Yeah, I'll take both of those.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the BMW first?
So I think the BMW when we first got it and I first signed for the team 2 years ago,
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, it was a hard starting point because the bike was pretty good, I guess, like out of the box, with horsepower, all that stuff. But I felt like there was a lot to do with the electronics, and other parts on the bike, like grip levels and stuff like that that we really had to like nail down. I think after 1 year of riding it and then going into this second year and then Cameron coming on board, he got a lot to give a lot of feedback from the test at like Button Willow,
Okay.
and the other test at Chuckwalla.
Okay.
But I think that he was a huge help as well to asking for some stuff. And I think from that point on, the whole BMW kind of moved forward with their electronics, the grip level with swing arm and stuff like that, and finding little ways to make the bike not spin up as much and not lose so much grip, because I feel like that was a huge downfall for it, because we had so much power in our hands that we were just spinning so much, and the bike was wheeling, and it was really out of control and really, really hard to ride,
It looked hard to ride, dude. I talked to you at Laguda, and I was like, bro, are you good, dude? Because your bike looks like it's twisting you up into knots right there, like out of turn 11. And you're like, dude, that's exactly what's happening. He's like, I'm just trying to hang on to not die. Like,
yeah, exactly. My gosh, that's pretty much like the whole time you ride that thing is just like you're death gripping that bike, Like I've never had so much arm pump in my entire life.
Oh my god!
From riding the BMW, just because it's like such a handful.
Well, was it also foreign territory for you riding a bike with that many options with the electronics? And I don't know how many swing arms you guys tried that first year, but I would imagine you tried a couple different ones, right?
I feel like we were working more on electronic stuff and everything the first year and nailing all that stuff down. I feel like that I actually, as a rider, like learned so much in the 2 years of working around this whole program that we had, though.
Yeah.
With electronics and all the different things that it involves, like of putting like a Superbike package together and little things to make the bike move forward on the track. Like I learned so much, through the whole team with doing that stuff. So it was pretty incredible, actually, experience for me as well. But
right.
I feel like towards the end of it, like by Jersey and stuff of this past year, that we got the bike to be a competitive bike where it could probably have been on the podium from every weekend moving forward. Like even if they went into 2024, like that bike was a podium bike at every single weekend, I think.
Wow. I mean, it looked like it. Like I said at the beginning of the show, right? Like you're on that short list of dudes that have been able to beat Gagne straight up in the last few years, right? So
yeah,
clearly you made some progress from the bike that looked like it was trying to kill you every exit, basically, right? Because it was always at the exit, right? It looked really good going in, but just the exit looked like it was trying to chewed up bubble gum,
Yeah,
it was like,
for sure.
Yeah, okay. That's
I
fair.
remember I would always like tell Scotty, because like he worked with Gagne in the past, and I was like, dude, this thing is moving around so much, it's not okay. It's like, it's too much. He's like, did you see Gagne? He's fighting his bike everywhere. I'm like, you have no idea.
Yeah, well, Gagne, even if you look at him in 2020 versus him in 2021, like even though he's active on the bike's, and it's gotten progressively better, obviously, but the bike's not moving around like it was in 2020. He's not fighting it. He's making it do that. So or at least it looks like that anyway. But yeah, so and then Davey's other comment was about those English guys playing rough on the track. Is that accurate there?
I think in BSB it for sure is. I've had some pretty like gnarly battles in the BSB classes. Like I rode the 600 class, which was pretty crazy. I remember the 600 class, I won my only and first ever 600 race in BSB. We were going into like the last corner chicane at Assen, and there was like 5 of us together, and there was like 3 people on the inside, and then someone's trying to pass each other on the outside. It was a mess, and we were all off in the gravel, and I ended up winning the race. But yeah, they're pretty intense over there, and they're definitely pretty rough at the BSB tracks. That's for sure.
Do you think that kind of roughness prepared you moving forward for shit that you experienced later? Like Supersport a couple years ago that I just talked about?
I think so.
Yeah.
It
Or
definitely
racing
did.
against these lunatics, I mean,
Yeah.
your teammate, Jake, Campy,
Yeah.
Skoltz, right? You're right, man.
Yeah.
That Superbike class is stacked. Holy shit. Like saying it out
Yeah.
loud, it's like, wow, you know? Um, okay, so let's see here. Wow, Ricky Bobby, the Boxo Tool guy. He's like, he says that you're a cool dude and something about loving you on the Taiko Suzuki and the Core Honda 600.
Oh yeah.
The Honda guy, Trevor Watson, says, hey, you won on a Honda, right? Of course he says that,
Yeah.
right? And Tenkata, you rode on Tenkata?
Yeah, I did. Yep, for 1 year in World Supersport.
Okay. Wow, dude. Hopping teams, you changing crews each time, right? Like, how is that?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, that's for sure. But even in my year that I almost won the world championship, like I was on the Kawasaki Intermoto team, and then after the fourth round, the trailer and truck, all that stuff got confiscated. The police took everything. The
Oh
guy
shit!
was
Is
like,
that the Paul Bird thing?
no, that's different. And
It wasn't
yeah,
drugs, was
like,
it?
No, oh, I don't know what it was.
There was one. There was
I don't
one
really know.
Cowie team that I thought it was Paul Bird that like they were like smuggling drugs or something across when they were in their Euro side.
Yeah, in the past, I think something like that happened with one of those teams. So
Crazy.
but yeah, my team like quit, folded, and we had
Oh, wow.
like the nicest truck in the paddock, and it was gone. So yeah, I had no ride after that, and I was sitting third in the championship, in the world championship, and then I had to find a ride. So I was figuring it out, and then I ended up jumping to the Core Honda bike because they got rid of their rider after the next round. So I
Oh.
jumped on that, and I was like on the podium instantly. And then from that point on, I was either first or second in every single race from the remaining
Wow.
season. Yeah. So if my season went well at the beginning, and I didn't have those two bad results with my other team, I would have been very close to winning the world championship.
Shit, dude. Like
Yeah.
you were like the guy that like almost won the championship multiple times.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
man.
That's why if you look at my Instagram, it just says runner up, runner up, runner up, runner up, runner up.
You're
runner
like
up.
you're like the Randy Mamola of World Supersport.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I am Randy Momoa. Yeah, exactly. Get second in everything.
Except I have a better hairline.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bobby is saying that he got to ride at Jennings behind you when you were coaching Sam Lockoff, and he said, "Yeah, that lasted about 3 corners, and you guys were gone." Michael Palm says there are a few races at MotoAmerica Supersport where you seem to be unhappy with some of the over-aggressive riding and some of the riders. Since you raced all over the world, how do you rate the riding in MotoAmerica? That's a good question.
The riding in MotoAmerica, I think, is pretty good. I think it's especially good for like the fans. I think like I'm friends with Josh. I think that he makes some pretty good entertaining passes for MotoAmerica.
That's an interesting way to put it.
I think there's some aggressive passing and stuff like that. Cameron makes some good passes. Jake does.
Schultz
Schultz
made a really interesting pass on Heron at Jersey, right?
at Jersey.
Oh yeah, this year. Yeah, he. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I seen that one. Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
That was like
Exactly.
woo, right? So, I think he got penalized for it too. So,
Yeah.
that's fair. I mean, back then
He got penalized one position, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
That was a rough pass too, and I got penalized 2 positions for a yellow flag.
That you couldn't see because you were on the inside of the dude you were passing, and
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that consistency, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how all that stuff gets ruled or whatever. I mean, It was a bummer. Like, I didn't think you deserved that. I could only imagine, like I said, I could only imagine you trying to read their chicken scratch on the pit board
Yeah.
with blue tape and shit. Like, I was like, what are you, like, I kind of wish they had, do you kind of wish they had the rider communication shit on the dash to where they could be like, hey, dude, you got to slow down a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
That's
or
what
hey,
we brought
or
up.
build a long lap penalty or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or just like have it on your dash, like you said. It's like
Yeah.
you have to go back 2 positions or something.
Yeah. Okay, so then Trevor says PJ's Fast Glass Media videos on Instagram are pretty sick. Yeah. I'm sure you know that. That's why you post them.
Yeah.
And
You
then,
need to do more supermotos.
dude, you do, man. Like, you're sideways, like damn near dragging the bar. Like, that's. And then
Yeah.
instantly into a wheelie. It's all. I'm sure those almost get as much views as the flame coming out of the back of your
Yeah.
Superbike, right?
I should just do supermoto videos, not even road race anymore.
What's the deal with the Superbike and the flamethrower? Like, those BMWs, ever since they came out, they're just shooting fire out of the tailpipe.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's like, yeah, it's Peter's little thing over there. I feel like Cameron had a lot more flames this year.
Oh, is that right?
No,
I don't know, dude. I'll be straight up with you, man. Like, you know, Jake's dad and I were up at the top of the corkscrew at Laguna, and dude, Cameron's bike that weekend sounded quite a bit different than your bike did. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know what the difference was, but definitely did not sound like the same bike.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I don't know what that is. Tuning, gearing, I no idea, but definitely didn't sound the same.
maybe it was the rider.
You know, yeah. I mean, he's another one of those lunatics, right? So
He is. I like him.
multi-tape champ. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. All right. So then the next question is from Brian Green, and this is another training one. But how do you get enough protein in when you're training, Mr. Professional Athlete guy?
Enough protein in?
Yeah, like
I feel like I definitely didn't have enough in for Coda this year. I'll tell you that. I was
Oh,
gonna
yeah?
pass out at that place. That was the
Well,
roughest weekend
it
I
was
ever
hot,
had.
dude.
And
It was
I wish
super
like
hot.
I had like a nutrition coach at that race that weekend. To be honest with you,
Really?
because that was really bad.
Like, was it
Yeah.
you were cramping up, or what was happening?
No, just like it was so hot, like I've raced in Thailand and Malaysia before, and I've been like prepared for those, and I know not to eat like fried food and stuff like that, and I wasn't doing that at Coda weekend, and I was drinking plenty, Pedialyte, all that stuff, and yeah, it was so hot out there from the bikes, like it was
Yeah.
it was getting intense.
Yeah,
It was
I mean,
like 115 degrees.
yeah, I was out there just long enough to hold the umbrella on the grid for Jake, and I thought
Yeah.
my shoes were gonna melt.
I know it was like, yeah,
I can
my
only
boots
imagine
like
you
were
guys
melting.
on this like hot missile, you know.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let's see. Yeah, Moto Prosecutor says that you need to be a man and train hard with enduro.
With enduro.
Yeah, train
Oh,
hard.
enduro riding.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, enduro riding's pretty intense.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah.
And Trevor asks this, but I had it in my notes as well. And I know Scooter, but what's it like working with Scooter? Scooter Jensen.
Oh, yeah, it's good. Like I've been with Scotty since 2019. We're in 2023 now, so yeah, I love Scotty. He's awesome dude to work with. He's had my back the whole entire time. And yeah, I feel like he knows me like very, very well. So setup wise, like
Yeah.
every time I'm saying something, he knows what I'm pretty much looking for. And yeah, he's really good too. Like if we have a bad weekend, like we both go down together and we figure it out. We're really upset and pissed off, but
Yeah.
we get through the weekend and we move on to the next one, and then make sure we dominate or be really really fast at the next one. So yeah, I have a lot of respect for Scotty, and he knows me very well, and I really really have a lot of trust for that guy with things.
Yeah. Do you think that Scotty, being a former Superbike racer himself, helps with getting things going?
Yeah, I think so because it's hard when someone hasn't rode, I guess, in crew chief position or something like that sometimes because they don't really understand what you're saying. So
Okay.
Scotty's been down those roads and he knows the feelings that us as riders get and everything and what we're explaining. So he can probably have a better understanding of that.
Okay, that's fair. You
Yeah.
know, Scooter, I know he's pretty switched on with the electronic stuff too, right? So, do you guys have did you guys have like a dedicated data guy or, like, because I think are you guys using BMW electronics or Morelli? What were you guys using?
BMW electronics.
Okay, so you had
Both.
like a dedicated data guy, but I think Scooter had been to like Morelli school, so like he kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Scotty knows everything. Yeah.
yeah, so I think he's pretty switched on with the electronics and can help the data
Yeah.
guy translate what you're doing with, or how did it work in your pit?
I mean, sometimes my data guy wasn't there this year, so
Oh,
there was
really?
like 3 races that he couldn't make.
Oh, that sucks.
So Scotty did everything, and like Brainerd, I didn't have a data guy, and we won our first race.
Yeah, isn't that how it works?
Yeah, so I mean, truthfully, like Luke did a great job for me this year. He was my data
Yeah.
guy, and he was brought on from like the trucking or car error
Yeah.
area, and he did a great job, and he was learning everything, and I really am appreciative of him. But honestly, like Scotty, like if you just had him on the team, like he could do all of that stuff himself. He knows everything, and it's just too much for him to do. You know, going over suspension and this and that. Like the whole purpose of having another guy there is so
Yeah.
you can like make the time come down of doing everything. You know,
Right.
Because like Scotty will be there till 8, 9 o'clock at night, still going over everything, while the other guys are gone because they have their data guy. You know, so
Right.
Scotty has to look at a lot more stuff, you know, and yeah, it's good. He can literally do everything. Like he's one person of everything. So
Wow.
he's a great
That sounds
person.
very familiar on our team.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, except our team, like that guy is Richard, you know?
yeah, yeah.
You know, that guy, I mean, you know, he drives the truck sometimes. Like, I don't know how the dude could be such a blue collar guy and be a white collar guy at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, he does everything. And he also has this like crazy mindset where it's like, why am I going to pay somebody to do something I could do myself, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he's
yeah.
pretty much right.
yeah. So what's it like being on a 3-rider Superbike team? Like, what's that? How's that vibe in your pit?
It was pretty crazy. I think that just it's hard to like when you have 3 Superbike riders, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of parts involved, you know.
Yeah.
So it's very like difficult for, I guess, you to make sure that you have all of the parts for 3 riders and stuff like that. So it gets a bit hectic in there in a big truck with 3 riders. I
Yeah.
think it definitely is a lot, and you're kind of like at the maximum right there of doing it with 3 riders. Like you're at the limit, you know,
Yeah.
because yeah, it just gets it gets very very difficult.
Well, a lot of people callously have been like basically asking Richard if he's going to bring a 3rd Superbike into the team, and they don't realize how much effort that really is. And and you could
Yeah.
see it. You could kind of see what happened with that, right? I mean, it looked like. I mean, from the outside in, I don't know. I haven't talked to Corey too much. I talked to him a little bit, but man, it sure looked like he was like the bastard step kid on that team. It seemed like, you know, It seemed like he had last year's stuff and until the end, and then look what happened. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. It's hard to it's hard to say for sure.
did
But
did
yeah, I feel for Corey.
did Corey did Corey like step across the wall or whatever in your guys' pit and ask you guys what you guys are doing or anything like that to help
Yeah,
himself or
there was
like
a lot of there was a lot of communication throughout the whole team and stuff.
that's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
So I think whenever Corey needed information wise and stuff, it was always pretty much available.
Okay, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
that's the way it should be, right? Because a team is supposed to want to win. Want everybody on the team to win, right? So
Yeah, that's how it should be exactly. Because like everybody should have a fair chance with all the same equipment and stuff like that, and
yeah.
give the rider an opportunity to win because that's what they're there for.
So I'm getting some more. I'm getting some more commentary here. Let's see, another Ricky Bobby question about Keenan, but like let's see, racing against and almost beating Keenan, and he says he saw Jeff's Honda getting prepared for him. Okay, wow, it's like oh yeah, almost beating Keenan to the championship. He means PJ beat him in a couple of races. How was it battling with Keenan? Safoglu.
Pretty intense. That guy is very very intense. He's a
Yeah.
very intense rider. I just think that when he goes out in free practice one, he basically sets the bar,
Okay.
and the lap time he's on like right away. So yeah, he's a fighter like to the end.
That sounds familiar here in Superbike, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think anybody could argue that Jake does that here, right? He
yeah.
goes out, he rolls out, and his second lap is already like, what do you think it would take for you to just be like that from the jump? Or do you need a few laps to kind of get going? Or like, what's your mantra, if you will, when you get up to pace?
I mean, I feel like in free practice one, I'm pretty much up to pace. Sometimes I feel like I'm either in the top three in free practice one, but
Okay.
sometimes I get stuck at the lap time of that fast lap time that we did, so it gets a little hard to improve on that.
Okay.
Just with bike setup and some things to move forward that half a second to free practice two or free practice three. So I feel like I'm pretty good at starting at a very strong pace right away, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what do you feel like your biggest strength is with regards to the race? Is it qualifying? Is it corner? Like, what's your riding superbike strength?
I feel like usually at the end of the races, I'm pretty strong. Usually, when the tires start going off for other people, I feel like I'm pretty strong. Or the first few laps, I feel like I'm a fighter and I get involved like right away. So yeah, it's kind of hard to tell or to say. I mean, I feel like maybe the worst part of the race for me is maybe the middle.
Yeah.
It's like when you're running or something. You're doing 2 miles and then the third mile you kind of dip, the fourth mile you dip, and then you come back
Yeah.
up again.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like I'm a little bit like that sometimes.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And if you're like that sometimes, what do you think? What do you think that you could do to like make it so you can be at peak the whole time?
I feel like just being a little bit more concentrated and
Yeah.
and focusing a bit more like halfway through the race. Because I feel like sometimes if I'm falling down at that point, that I have to mentally get myself back up there like quick to get back to the rhythm again, and then I'm up till the end of the race. So
Wow.
yeah, I feel like it's maybe a concentration thing, and you settle in or you back off like a little bit on lap 7 to 10, instead of pushing to the maximum that you were before that and then after that. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Like push, 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 take a breather, and then push, push, push kind of vibe, right?
yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
like you do
Brian,
that to have a little bit of a breather, but it's not a good idea.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to take a breather when you got the lunatics that you race against right there, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's a couple more comments coming in. I'll get to Brian Green's question and then we'll continue on because I wanted to ask you about coaching and stuff. But having one. But Brian Green wants to know what's it going to take to get you out on the ridge for some training, so you can get to the point where you're even quote okay with the track. And he has laughing emojis there. Is that insinuating that you don't like the ridge?
Yeah, I hate that place.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it about the ridge that you hate? Because I don't know. I tested with the team a couple years ago, and man, I thought the track was cool. You got that super fast shit, and then you got like first gear stuff. Lombard Street from San Francisco, you know.
I feel like the track is a good layout and stuff like that, but I feel like the grip level for me with the front and the rear sometimes, like I don't get a good feeling from the front tire and the front there.
Okay.
So I've been having a super hard time with feeling for some reason at that track. Like I just don't get the grip level that I'm looking for, and the front is always squirming and moving around, and I don't like that. So it makes me like just absolutely hate that place.
Do you think you would benefit if the team that you're on goes over there and tests, and then you guys could?
That would be a great idea, for sure.
Yeah. So whoever that is, make note of that.
Yeah, just bring my Superbike there for like a week and let me just stay there and just keep riding it.
Yeah, camp out with like Ken Hill for a week or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I'm gonna get to the rest of the questions in a little bit, but I mentioned coaching. Do you have like somebody that's like your riding coach to help you get going?
So, like Jake Zemke has been on our teams that I've been on for different years. So, he's been like a riding coach. I really like Jake as a person.
Okay.
And he knows what he's talking about. So,
well, yeah.
Every time you have a problem, or if he sees something, he's always there to address it, and it always makes sense, you know. So yeah, it's always good to have that, because like you wouldn't know that if you wouldn't know that. You just keep riding around in the same thing, and it, what he said to you shaved off a couple tenths or something, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, having JD Beach even said that he gets coaching. His guy is Ken Hill. But how important do you feel that having somebody like that in your corner is to your success?
It's really good. I think rider coaching is a huge thing now, especially like at the levels we're at and everything. The littlest stuff just really like helps, and especially on a Superbike.
Right on. All right, so you know what? I asked a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna just get right down and dirty and like, what's up with Tytlers, man? Like they're at the end of the season. I did my show with Stamboli, and he was telling me that, basically the word on the street was the dude was like, everybody needs to go find a new job now. Like, so. Like what's the real story there? I actually Corey Alexander told me that wasn't the truth at all, even though he didn't think he was going to be on the team, and it's been announced that he's not on the team. But what's the deal with the Tytlers team? Are you riding for that team again, maybe under a different name, or are you looking for a ride? Like what's PJ Jacobsen doing?
I thought Richard was hiring me.
Well, I could put a good word in for you, but I think he's kind of like figuring his shit out already too, man.
No, so yeah, I don't have a contract signed. I'm speaking to some teams right now. And all honesty, I really don't know what the Tytler's program is going to be going forward because
Okay.
I haven't had too much communication on the plans for 2024, or they haven't been brought to my attention.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't even know if there is a plan there or if they have plans and it's with plans with other riders.
Yeah.
But I am not on the, I guess, agenda or whatever it's called
Shit.
right now.
How is that possible,
Of
dude?
being told that that I have a ride for next year.
I find that amazing. I mean, like I said, you're on that short list. You know, that's really unfortunate. And last week JD mentioned it. That's like the cruel side of our sport, right? In his case, he won dirt track races and was in the front basically every weekend over there, and then he goes to Superbike and he podiums and wins there immediately. And he said he found himself without a ride at that point. So, is it just right now? Maybe it's just too early, or what do you think it is?
I just think that that there's not enough teams there right now.
Yeah.
And then another thing is as well, like when you're an established rider like JD or myself and stuff like that, you have to, like, we do this at the end of the day to earn a wage, like
Right.
financially, like make money out of the sport, like I would
Yeah.
love to do it for fun, but unfortunately it doesn't pay where I live. You
Yeah,
know?
doing it for fun, you got to keep the lights on at the house and be able to eat. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing about the sport. So, yeah, I just feel like it's a little bit hard right now, and especially if some teams are leaving, there's not many rides available at that point. And the sad part is too, it doesn't really matter like how you end up doing if some teams already have riders that are locked in with not so many teams.
wow. Yeah, so some of the guys are commenting about the number of viewers. Just so you know, this is a small show. Like, it's just me, like, whatever, and I talk shit. And this video that we're doing has had you have the most live viewers I've ever had, ever.
I do.
Yeah. Like,
Why?
I had, at one point, about 10 minutes ago, I had over 4,000. And I was, like,
Oh,
kind of
really?
shitting my
Wow.
pants.
Oh, that's all. Wow.
I was like,
Cool.
wow, dude. Like,
Yeah.
people seem to like PJ. That's rad. Okay.
Jeez.
I'm like, roll up my sleeves, huh? All right. Thank you guys for watching this.
Jeez, I need a beer too. Where's my beer?
Dude, I don't drink beer, bro. This is vanilla cream soda.
Oh, vanilla cream. Oh, I thought that was a beer the whole
Yeah,
time.
dude. I don't drink
Vanilla
alcohol
cream
at all.
soda.
Yeah, dude. I am a total square, dude. Like, I ride bicycles and I drink vanilla soda and root beer and stuff. Like, I don't. Yeah.
I thought you were
Like,
drinking a beer this whole time. I was
I'm
like,
on point
what the heck?
I'm on point to do 7,000 miles on the bicycle this year. So,
Yeah, that's
like,
good.
I think I've got, like, I don't know, 1,300 miles to go ish, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah. So okay. So I got some more comments. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Short
It's
moto
about
guy.
the vanilla cream.
Short moto guy says he loves your supermoto videos. There's people talking about your height.
My height. That is so
he's
messed
like,
up.
Short people for the win. That's because
short
Barry.
people.
Yeah, because Barry's the guy commenting. Barry, he's a short guy as well.
I'm 5'7".
Yeah, well, that's. I mean, you're not a midget, but like, you're a short guy, dude. Like, come on. Like,
I'm kidding.
let's be real. You know, you're a short guy. Like, that's probably why you don't have Beats headphones, right? Because, like, I don't know. Let's see. All right, so yeah, like, Ricky Bobby's saying, you and JD not having rides, it's like a sad state for the boys.
Yeah.
And then, the Honda guy, Trevor's mentioning that Stefano was still riding the Tytler's bike last weekend at Daytona, and the Cowie, too. I don't know what the deal is with that or whatever, but, apparently he's continuing to ride the that doesn't mean it's the Tytler's team. It could be like the bike got sold to a guy. I don't know the specifics on that, but apparently, what are your thoughts on that comment?
Yeah, like I like Stefano a lot. I really got to know him as a rider this year. I didn't know him that much before, but I got on with him really, really well, and I really like that kid a lot. But yeah, I think that he already had this kind of set in his plans for to do Daytona.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think it was a thing that was thrown together at the end. I already think this was happening.
Okay.
With his whole program this year. So yeah, I just think that he was finishing the season of riding the Superbike at Daytona because maybe Michael and Stefano had to do it for sure, but Michael wanted to do it and stuff like that. So I don't really think that was a new thing. I think that was already on the plan. So
yeah,
it really doesn't surprise me, you know.
Yeah. I mean that totally makes sense. It wouldn't make sense to do a last minute thing after what supposedly happened at Jersey. So,
yeah, because Stefano rides CCS so much, you know,
yeah.
and stuff. So yeah, it's not
a
surprising thing for me.
That dude, when I had him on, he was talking about how his training regimen is racing.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's all he does is race.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, to be bike fit, that guy, all he does is ride bikes. Every day somehow. It coaches at Yamaha school and all that.
Exactly. He's the JD of road racing, though.
Totally, right? Yeah.
Of riding a bike all the time.
Jesus. Yeah. Well, you know what, man? This has been a good discussion, PJ. I think we should wrap this thing. But are there any sponsors or anybody that you want to thank before we wrap this thing?
No, not really. I just want to thank you for having me on the show here and stuff. I really appreciate it. I know we've been trying to get this together.
I know,
stuff
right?
Like that. So it's been super cool, and hopefully I can come back.
I was even ratting you out to Scooter, dude, what the fuck is this with the guy? He won't answer his phone no more. What the fuck? And he's like, he's busy. What?
Yeah, right. No, I'm just not good with my phone usually. Which, yeah.
Right on. All right. Well, you know what, man? I'm rooting for you to have a ride, man. That sure would be cool to see you pick up where you left off. I mean, you were right there, and you could tell your confidence went up when you were right behind Jake that first race at Brainerd, and then, I mean, you capitalized on it and got the W race 2, and then it just looked like that changed your whole world, and it would be really cool to see that continue. So, I'm rooting for you to have a job next year so we can continue seeing that shit.
Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate it. I'll definitely be on the grid though. I got some stuff cooking, and hopefully you'll hear the news here soon when I get myself all sorted.
Right on, man. All right. Well, maybe we'll have you on again. When you get that shit sorted, and we could talk about what you got going down.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be awesome. And thank you for all the viewers watching this podcast and stuff. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, man.